What is up, y'all? We are back for episode 2 of the 2-Minute Drill. As always, Hunter Gonzalez here with my trusty partner in crime, Gabe Cornwall. How are you doing, Gabe?
Pretty good. How you doing?
You know, man, I am doing pretty good. I'm pretty jacked up for this episode. I think we got some cool things in store for everybody. I think we got some cool new segments. In fact, I know we have some cool new segments. I think that's I think this episode is going to get people talking. I think they're going to talk about some takes that we've got. I think they're going to talk about some of the things that have happened in the NFL. I mean, we're coming down. We're doing this on Wednesday night. It's dropping Thursday morning. But, dude, there were some huge things that happened today. But, guys, without further ado, we are going to start with our newest segment called the 2-Minute Drill. I know that's pretty clever, right? But we're going to start with the 2-Minute Drill. So, without further ado, 2 minutes starts now. Gabe, what do we got?
Today we have the best wide receiver core.
We have got Derrick Henry signing.
And Raheem Mostert wants a trade.
Cam Newton, I know you're happy about this one, Gabe. He officially signs.
And, man, after the Chiefs paid Mahomes, they're also paying Chris Jones a lot of money.
Oh, man, that one, I think we're going to have some fun getting into that one. And then, personally, the one that I'm most excited to talk about, the thing that I am most jacked up to talk about, and that is Myles Garrett signing the $7 trillion deal today. That ink is still drying as we're speaking right now, but yeah, we're going to have some fun today. So now that y'all know what we're talking about, now that y'all know what the rundown of the episode is, let's get to it. Gabe, give me the best wide receiver groups in the NFL, and I know I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay, so this has been a discussion for a few days now, and I've been looking at stats, looking at the players, and I just don't see how the Cardinals don't have the best wide receiver trio.
So, okay, so are we saying? Of course, we're saying that with DeAndre Hopkins. So,
yes,
I'm gonna kind of unpack this. So, he, in your opinion, makes them the best wide receiver trio in the NFL. Okay. But before DeAndre, like, where did you have them?
Before Hopkins, they were probably middle of the road. I mean, if they weren't, there's nothing like Fitzgerald. He's getting old, so I mean, he lost some of his speed. He still catches everything, so that's the main reason why I like them so much. Is he's a big body. He doesn't drop anything. He's a little bit slower, but he's not slow yet. Now, 3-4 years from now, or 2-3 years from now, I'm gonna say Cardinals won't be the best, but right now, just with Hopkins, it's just ugly. I mean, you have the two wide receivers that never drop anything, and then you have a quick, shifty third and fourth wide receiver. So,
yeah, I think in a vacuum, I don't disagree with that thought process at all. The thing that I struggle to put them number one, and I am not just saying this because I have to disagree with you, because at the end of the day, I don't have to. Of course, that leaves y'all, the listeners, a lot more interested. But the thing that leaves me wondering if they truly are going to take that quote-unquote next step with Hopkins, getting rid of David Johnson and running with Kenyon Drake, is can I trust that Kyler Murray is going to go out there and be the stud that everybody wants you to think he is? And truthfully, man, it's just hard for me to believe that he is going to be who people think he is just because of his size. And I hate to be such a kind of running with what a lot of people are saying, but dude, when you're 5'10", 207 pounds, like, I mean, all it takes is Calais Campbell or Myles Garrett or Khalil Mack or Aaron Donald falling on top of you, and you break into a billion pieces. So, man, I don't know, man. And with that atrocious line, I don't know.
But he's so quick. Like, he's like, if he was as long as Lamar Jackson, people would be saying the same thing about him. It is funny watching him play on Sunday and stuff. He looks so small, and his helmet looks so huge.
There ain't nothing about looks to it. I mean, the dude is. I think I've taken bigger craps than him, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Like, the team started off really bad last year, but at the end of the year, that team was clicking. I mean, he was doing some damage. I'm not saying he was the best quarterback or anything, but give it a couple years, and I think he can I think he can be like a Drew Brees 2.0, and just based on the size.
Whoa, really?
He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And the only downside to him is his size.
So, so I'm looking at the Cardinals schedule right now, and I did watch that Week 1 game where they tied the Lions, and I will say that Week 1 game, I'd been telling people leading up to that to the Week 1 season opener. I had said, Kyler Murray, I think he's going to he's just going to get killed in his first game against the Lions. Snacks Harrison's going to fall on top of him, and we actually may witness a murder. But that didn't happen. And if I'm remembering right, I'm going to pull up the box score. If I'm remembering right, I think they were down by 17 points going into the fourth quarter. If I'm remembering right, let me find it out. So yeah, I mean, they were down 11 points. And then he goes out and puts up 18 in the fourth to put it 24-24 going into overtime. I mean, when that happened, here it is. He, with 47 seconds left, ice water in his veins, threw a 4-yard touchdown pass to Larry Fitzgerald, and then 2-point conversion to Christian Kirk. So, I go back and forth on him. I really do, and I feel like this Cardinals team, and I mean, you could say this for literally any team in the NFL, but they're going to go as far as Kyler Murray takes them. So I don't disagree with the wide receivers themselves. Maybe the top 4 guys, and Christian Kirk, Larry Fitzgerald, DeAndre Hopkins, and Andy Isabella being arguably the best wide receiver core in the league. But I don't know how much I trust Kyler in comparison to how much I trust Tom Brady, maybe, or how much I trust Drew Brees, maybe, or how much I trust. It's really just those two. And I say that, man, and I hate saying this, dude. It like pains me to say it. Like I'm about to cry. I know you can see my pretty face. I am about to cry. I think I'm gonna have to put the Cowboys number 1, dude. What do you think?
The Cowboys are all about if Lamb is good. If he's like the next big thing, of course they're going to be the best. But it's not because of Amari Cooper or Michael Gallup. It's going to be because of CeeDee Lamb. And CeeDee Lamb was great in college, but it is college, and he's not the biggest wide receiver. He's not just going to go bully someone. He's going to run past them. He's not as fast as Hill. So I just don't see why everyone's so huge on him whenever I personally don't think Amari Cooper's that great. I think he's probably a top 15, top 20 wide receiver.
Wow.
And then
really?
Michael Gallup is probably top 40 or 50.
Ooh.
Like maybe 40. Around 40. I don't think. He's just like, if you see Gallup across the field, you're not like, oh my God, he's about to catch something. You're thinking, oh, okay, hey, get our third cornerback on him.
He most likely won't catch something because Dakota Prescott will overthrow him by about 755 feet.
Yeah, and that doesn't even take an effect of, like, they do have Dak throwing the ball. He's okay. He's not great. So I just don't see how. Like, I have a lot of people saying the Cowboys are the best. And I think it's just Cowboy fans. They're all delusional.
Ooh, man, dude, this is our second episode, man. We got to keep viewers in. Golly, knowing that I'm living in Dallas, you're just going below the belt on this. But
I'm not saying that they can't be great. I'm not higher on a single one of those wide receivers. Whenever, like, I'm comparing them to other greats like the Falcons, Julio Jones, or freaking the Bucks, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Now they're in the top 5, top 10 wide receivers. There's just, if we're talking about one.
So where do you put the Cowboys at? If we're talking and I just say, okay, so give me your top 5. Of course, you're gonna have the Cardinals first. Who are you gonna put 2? Who are you gonna put 3?
Cardinals, I would probably say the Bucks. And
okay, so are we putting the Bucks there with counting Gronk as a tight end, or counting Gronk as a receiver?
We can have Scotty Miller as a third wide receiver. It's A-okay because Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are both number 1 wide receivers. I think both of them are better than Like Mike Evans is way better than Amari Cooper, and Chris Godwin's quite a bit better than Michael. And then CeeDee Lamb and Scotty Miller, I would give that to CeeDee Lamb. Even that if I've never seen him, Scotty Miller had like 200 yards last year. So it's not like he's a game changer or anything.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that thought at all. So we got the Cardinals, we got the Bucks. Who do you have three?
See, my third is kind of. I mean, I could put Cowboys in 3, but see, I'm tossed up between the Falcons and the Browns. The Browns have OBJ and Jarvis Landry, and they have Rashard Higgins as a third, which honestly, it almost like it's hard to say because OBJ was hurt last year. But I mean, I wouldn't be mad if you swap the Bucks and the Browns. I mean, OBJ versus Mike Evans, that's a toss-up. I mean, if we're going by OBJ's career. Now, last year, I have to give it to Mike Evans.
So we're going off of his career, which is totally fine. So his best year, if I'm remembering right, came in 2016. Let me pull up the numbers. So 2016, no, it would have been 2015. So he had 96 catches, 1,450 yards, and 13 touchdowns. Okay, but with that, let's go and this is how I am. I will always look at who he's sharing the field with, who he's got.
I mean, that's
to really fight for targets.
That is fair because
the dude fought with Reuben Randall. I mean, his high point was catching a touchdown pass at LSU from God knows who. Rashad Jennings, who I think may have actually bagged my groceries today at Kroger, and that's about it. So maybe this is a hot take, maybe it's not. I'm not saying this to provide a hot take by any means, but OBJ, in my opinion, what the heck is my opinion worth? Well, clearly it's worth something because you're tuning into it. One of the most overrated players in the NFL.
I can't. That's a toss up. I think he's bigger than just because of that one catch, but he's a very shifty wide receiver, and he can make some pretty crazy plays. Okay,
so I'm gonna give you something.
He has hops.
I'm gonna hops. This ain't the NBA. It don't matter.
It kind of does.
This is gonna put things into perspective. I think for you, and this will put things into perspective for the listeners. When OBJ last had a good year, and we can say last year was good. I mean, last year was a good year.
Let's not bash him too much. And he played. I mean, he had 74 receptions and a little over 1,000 yards last year.
That is not a number one getting paid. I think he's getting paid like $17-18 million a year, if I remember right.
But he played 16 games, and Mike Evans played 13 with 1,157 yards, with 10 less catches. So
OBJ had 3 more games and 100 less yards,
and he was hurt almost the whole season.
So was Evans. Came back from a second straight lacerated spleen.
Yeah, I mean, OBJ played with a broken foot the whole year.
The last year this man, I'm going to put it into perspective. The last year that this man had a good year, like a really good number one caliber year.
I don't want to die on this OBJ hill.
Barack Obama was running for his second term in office. The last time that OBJ had a number one all-pro year. I mean, my goodness! In 2016, I'm gonna go look. I think in 2016, who was the champ? The champ was the Patriots, and that was when the Falcons blew like an 84-0 lead with like 3 minutes left. I mean, I can't. When people talk about the Browns, okay, I guess Austin Hooper absolutely helps them, and I could put them top 5. But OBJ and Jarvis Landry, they're there off name alone. Rashard Higgins, I don't even think like his mom knows he still plays in the NFL.
Yeah, he didn't play much last year. He played 10 games, had 4 receptions. But to be fair, that Browns team, pretty much all expectations of them were crumbled, and they were garbage.
Because of Baker.
They did beat the Ravens, though. So
they did beat the Ravens.
That's before the Ravens were the Ravens. I mean, that's before Lamar Jackson knew he could run and pass at the same time.
You know, I think going back to my original thing of what I was saying was, I'm going to have to put the Cowboys there. So Amari Cooper, I've gotten into some pretty good discussions about him before. Amari Cooper, in my opinion, is a top probably 8 wide receiver in the NFL, top 7, top 8. And then it's not even. I don't put Amari Cooper. I don't put the Cowboys number 1 because of Amari Cooper. I put the Cowboys number 1 because they're number 2 and 3 being extremely. Mainly their number 2, Michael Gallup, extremely underrated. Michael Gallup is perennially. I say perennially. He's only been in the league 2 years, but when he was drafted, I believe he was drafted in the 3rd round. Correct me if I'm wrong. Out of Colorado State, it was kind of a like, oh, sweet, like the Cowboys go out and get a guy. If I'm remembering, I think he's like 6'2", 212.
He's 6'1".
He's 6'1",
198.
Okay, so he was a big guy, but he had some numbers helped up because he played in a terrible conference. I can't even think of where Colorado State, what conference they're in. I think it might be the MAC, if I'm remembering right. But no, it wouldn't be the MAC. I can't remember what Colorado State is. But they have the Cowboys number 3 was the best receiver in this year's class, like that, and they got him at 16. I mean that. I put the Cowboys number 1 because of their number 3 is why I put them number 1. And I know that I'm banking on CeeDee Lamb going out and being a monster, and I'm banking on Dak Prescott continuing to improve, and I'm banking on Mike McCarthy, his offense, making Dak Prescott look like Aaron Rodgers in 2012, 2013. But I'm going to have to say the Cowboys, and if we go strictly, I'm going to have to do some quick math, and you're going to have to kind of give me your thoughts on this, but. If we go off of fantasy points alone, we're looking at, and I know fantasy points isn't everything, but let's be real in today's society. I mean, fantasy football is like life, love, and fantasy football. Like it's right up there with everything.
I mean,
so
one team that we haven't even talked about that might actually be the best wide receiver group would be the Chiefs. They have Hill, Hardman, and Watkins. That's
okay. Okay, so, and I'm probably gonna get killed for this. I probably am. Patrick Mahomes, really good. Really, you're shaking your head. They can't even see our video right now. You're shaking your head. You're rolling your eyes. Patrick Mahomes, really good, 100%. I will not disagree.
I thought you were about to just say that he sucked or something. I was like, what?
Patrick Mahomes. Besides Odell Beckham Jr., in my opinion, may be the most overrated player in the NFL.
See, that's just a silly take. Have you?
How?
Okay,
How?
okay.
Because
now, don't get me wrong. I think he has a lot of flaws in his game. I mean, he is young though, but a bad quarterback will never take a team down. What, they were down 2 touchdowns or something in the AFC Championship game, and bring them back into the game 2 years ago. Versus the best dynasty in football. So, I mean, and then last year they won the Super Bowl. And it's 95% because of Patrick Mahomes. Ever since he's been in the league, he's been tearing it up. Now, I don't think his little no-look passes and stuff, I don't think that will fly for too long. Just because I think after a while, people will realize when he does that stuff. But he is the best he is the best quarterback right now. He can make all the throws, and he's pretty accurate.
Is he? He is the best quarterback right now, 100%. I'm not going to disagree with that take at all. But in the same way, the Legion of Boom was like everything, big press corners, guys that could just destroy you off the line. Became all the craze, and teams had no idea what to do when you had Earl Thomas, one of the best ball hawking safeties literally of all time, and Cam Chancellor, one of the biggest hitting safeties of all time. I don't think that's a hyperbole saying
I will
that.
never forget that hit he hit Gronk on. He like ruptured his
I think Gronk is still recovering from that. Yes. I mean, just killed him. And that Gronk, let's not act like he's 6'1", 200 pounds.
No,
I mean, he's a massive
he's a monster.
And then you have Bobby Wagner, KJ Wright, and another dude who I can't think of. He plays for the Cowboys now, or he was signed by the Cowboys last year in Week 16. Can't believe I forgot his name. But what I'm getting to, my point that I'm getting to is the NFL will always catch up. The read option was huge in 2013, 14, huge. Now, if you run the read option, you're going to get killed. unless your name's Lamar Jackson and you run like a 3.8 40. You're going to get killed. It just doesn't work in today's day and time. So Patrick Mahomes, great, 100% great. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not, but I don't think that he's all that and everything on top of that. Now,
I don't think he's like great before the snap, but he can, like, any throw on the football field he can make, and which works out with having the speed wide receivers.
He doesn't have to fit balls in tight windows.
Yeah, I know,
because he's got guys that his number 3 freaking receiver runs a Mecole Hardman. I think ran, and I'm not exaggerating, I think he ran like a 4.23 or something. Like that.
It's extremely fast. But I mean, you say that he doesn't have to, but he still makes some pretty close throws, and it just, I mean,
so Hardman ran a 4.33. Hardman ran a 4.33, and Tyreek, if I remember right, ran like a 4.31.
Yeah,
I think is what he ran. Let me see this.
And then Watkins is actually fairly fast too. He probably ran like a 4.4 or 4.5.
His thing is he just always gets hurt. Yeah. I think he ran a 4.47.
I mean, his career. I mean, I know they won the Super Bowl last year, but his career kind of went a downturn because didn't the Bills trade like 2 or 3 firsts for him?
If I'm remembering right, they traded. So he was drafted by them. It might have been the Rams that signed him to a big old fat contract. Let me pull this up real quick. So he was traded by the Browns as a 2014 first round pick, 4th overall, to the Bills for a 2014 first round pick, which was the 9th overall, a 2015 first rounder, and a 2015 4th. So 2 ones basically, and then he got traded by the Bills with a 6th for the Rams 2018 2nd. So all of that to say, I don't think, and it's hard for me not to bring in tight ends. If we're talking about tight ends, I really do think that the Chiefs take it. I really do, and the Cowboys are a close second.
If we're including tight ends, I would put the Bucks up there.
Man, my heart wants me to. As much as I love Gronk, my heart wants me to. But dude, that nobody knows what he's going to be.
I mean, he doesn't.
Nobody knows what he's going to be.
He honestly doesn't have to be much, as long as if he played like he did in 2018, whenever he just mainly blocked, and then whenever they needed it, he caught the pretty much a Super Bowl winning pass, and I that's really all you need, because they have more than just him. They also have O.J. Howard.
O.J. Howard's
he's a
great number 2.
Yeah, so yep. I mean, those are like people, like, he just improved that already great tight end core to, if he's Gronk, to an elite status. I think you're going to see.
I think you're going to see a lot of these Aaron Hernandez Gronk type sets out of Bruce Arians, because I don't think that Bruce Arians, he's an offensive genius. Let's be real.
Let's not go too crazy. Aaron Hernandez was a monster.
Now, do I think that
in real life
O.J. Howard is going to be Aaron Hernandez? No. Do I think Aaron Hernandez or O.J. Howard is going to be Aaron Hernandez? No. But when you put, because when push comes to shove, and we're forgetting about Ronald Jones, their running back, who's a pretty good pass catching running back in his own right, but we're talking about a team that the 4th option is going to be O.J. Howard. Okay, like, oh, amazing. No, but the top 3, you have to imagine the defensive coordinators are thinking, do I need to double team them? And in the red zone, Mike Evans, Gronk, no questions asked, double teams, no questions asked.
I mean, so you say that, but I watched the Patriots. I watched Gronk's whole time with the Patriots, and people would leave him wide open all the time for some reason.
So, I mean, but the thought process would be that he's going to be double teamed, and then Mike Evans, the best jump ball catcher in the league, is going to be double teamed. And so, I think if we include tight ends, I'm going to take the Bucks, then I'm going to take the Chiefs, then I'm going to take the Cowboys, because I'm very, very, very high on Blake Jarwin. But if we're just going top 3 receivers, I'm going to have to say the Cowboys. And I could eat my words next year. We could be having episode 52 of this podcast. And I'm like, well, guys, I'm an idiot, because I will never forget. And Tommy, I know you're listening to this, man. Before last year started, and I am embarrassed to say this, I should probably not even have a football podcast because of this take. I told this man with a straight face, Gabe, I kid you not. Listeners, I kid you not. I told Tommy with a straight face, I would take Mitchell Trubisky over Dak Prescott with a straight face. And I was 100% emphatic that Mitchell Trubisky was better than Dak.
Why? Why is that?
I was
high
on him. So I was high on him. I loved his legs. That sounded very weird. I loved the fact that he could run around. I didn't mind his arm. Now I'm 99% sure my 2-year-old daughter could throw a better spiral and a more accurate spiral than Mitch Trubisky. But yeah, we're not going to talk about that because I'm gonna get carried away with my hatred for Mitch Trubisky. But with that being said, now that we know, in our opinion, the best wide receiver trios in the league, let's talk about big boy putting team on the shoulders, Derrick freaking Henry. Well, I don't know why I just explained him that way. That sounded kind of strange. But let's talk about Derrick Henry. What are we making of his contract? I'm gonna let you start this, and then I'm gonna talk to you about what I got.
Okay, so he had the most yards in a rushing last year, and he pretty much, with Tannehill's help, he led that team to a playoff run. But I don't personally think you should ever pay a running back that much money. I mean, he's always been good. I can't say anything worse. He's always been good, and he can hit people, and people are scared to hit him. Just ask people like Earl Thomas. And I just 4 years, 50 mil, 25 and a half guaranteed. I just think that's a lot of money. 12 and a half every year. I mean that.
So the thing is with his contract, and it's coming out that it's basically they can basically get rid of him after 2 years with very little dead money.
See, that helps out the cap a lot.
It helps out the cap a lot. So they're looking at a good running back. I mean, let's not act like Derrick Henry's not a good running back. A good running back for 2 more years. For 2 more years. Now in 2 years, is he going to be a top 5 running back? Odds are probably not.
Could be, but I mean, he had 303 carries last year. That's a lot of carries.
That is a lot of carries. A lot of carries in 15 games. And they had a great line, but don't even get me going with my thoughts on why he had such a good year. But that begs the question, and you touched on it, is unless your name, and maybe we could even say no, are running backs worth the money? I mean, like, and this is the age-old question. I say age-old, really meaning over the past about 6, 7, 8 years. But are running backs worth the money? It is an all-pro running back who led the league in rushing and who over an 8-week span last year from week 11 to 17, I think, or 10 to 17, something like that. In an 8-game span, had the 3rd most rushing yards of all time by any running back in an 8-game span. Are running backs worth it? I mean, is that worth $12.5 million a year at an average annual value of that over 4 years? Is it worth it?
Last year, I would say yes, it was worth it for them. But I just feel like putting that much money in a running back position, because running backs get hit the most, and they are the most injury. I can't say prone, but they're the most likely to be injured. So I would rather go by like a running back by committee, or just have 1 or 2 guys, because Derrick Henry's.
You're saying that as a Patriot fan, by the way, too, when they haven't had a good running back since literally Curtis Martin, or Corey Dillon, my bad, like 15 years ago.
I mean, that's partly. I mean, and I mean, you like the main thing I look at is, can you spend that 50 million on different people? That say you spend, instead of spending 50 million on him, you spend that 50 million on 2 running backs and another player. So even if your running back gets hurt, or say your running back's James White, he doesn't get paid much, but he should have been a Super Bowl MVP. He's always reliable. So you could just get a running back like that. Now, is he going to take over a game? Most likely not, but he'll be there for over 4 years.
With that thought process, truthfully, I don't when you spin it that way, I don't disagree with you at all, because that's my thought process behind paying quarterbacks $40 million a year, $40+ million a year. Is I hate when people say, well, that's what the market dictates. The market can dictate things. That does not mean you got to buy. I've had this conversation with a lot of people before. Is if that 1,000 square foot house that somebody's living in is on sale in California for $3 million, you are an idiot if you pay $3 million for a 1,000 square foot house in California. If we got any California listeners here, you are an idiot if you spent $3 million on a 1,000 square foot house. But it's the same thing with quarterbacks. Let's just talk about Dak Prescott. Is Dak Prescott worth $40 million a year? Will Cowboy fans say, well, no, he's asking for $38 million a year. Okay, $38 million a year. Well, no, he's asked actually for 35. Okay, let's just drop it to 35. Is Dak Prescott worth $35 million a year? I can give you 0 reasons as to why he is worth $35 million.
I don't think he's worth $30 million a year.
I told Tommy, and I've actually told my dad this as well, and I told another client this. I would not pay a guns to my head. I have got to make the decision to set the Dallas Cowboys up for success in the future. I would not pay Dakota freaking Prescott more than about $28-29 million a year. Now, that's not an indictment on him.
Keep in mind, you also said Mitch was better than him. So
I did. I've probably lost all credence with these people. I'll pull with these people. But when push comes to shove, when you spin it the same way of, let's just say we pay Dak Prescott $28 million a year instead of 40. That's $12 million a year that you could have gone out there and they have Zeke, so this is apples to oranges comparison. But they could have gone out there and gotten Derrick Henry, an all-pro guy, but because they got Dak to take less money. It's the same thing with these running backs, is unless your name's Ezekiel Elliott, unless your name's Christian McCaffrey, you could even argue that Ezekiel Elliott's not been worth the $16 million
right,
yearly cap hit because he's gone down.
You can include Barkley too. Barkley's a real deal.
Okay, so Barkley, Zeke, McCaffrey.
The thing with those players is, I don't agree that you should pick a running back top 5 and all of those.
And then that begs the question: is maybe David Gettleman in New York didn't believe you should have, but the fact of the matter is in the 2018 NFL draft, if I'm remembering right, I'm going to have to pull it up in just a second. But in the 2018 NFL draft, Saquon Barkley was the second overall pick?
He was second overall pick. He had a choice from pretty much any quarterback they wanted. If they obviously didn't like any of the quarterbacks.
And I'm going to have to pull these numbers up because I can't remember who the picks were. Okay, so Baker Mayfield. Okay, Baker Mayfield. Let's not act like he's been just some. I mean, so let's look. So in 2018, Saquon Barkley was chosen second. The top 3 quarterbacks off the board were Mayfield, 1 pick in front of him, Darnold, 1 pick behind him, and then Josh Allen, 5 picks behind him. So, and then after that, 8 picks behind him was Josh Rosen. So maybe running backs aren't worth it necessarily, but we now pick to fill up a need, not necessarily a need, but we just go best position available, and that's always been the question with general managers. And I know we're no longer talking about necessarily Derrick Henry, but it becomes the same thing of the thought process of, do I pick by need or do I pick by this dude's just the best guy available?
I mean, it's one of those things. Is look at the hindsight is 2020. I mean, there are some good players that got picked after him, but number 2, I mean, if they couldn't have traded, honestly, I almost would I would have wanted to trade down a little bit, just because I don't want to pay Barkley, because if they picking him number 2 overall, they have to re-sign him. They cannot get rid of him.
You have to. Yep. And I think that's another issue. That was an issue with the Titans is, they paid him less money because had he played on the tag the next 2 years, this year and the next year, he would have gotten paid. I believe the number was $27 million, and they're paying him $25 over the next 2 years. But also, B is you can't go out and tell your fan base that this dude just literally carried us to the AFC Championship game, and we're just going to kick him to the curb. You can't do that to your fan base.
Especially a fan base that hasn't necessarily win a lot. I mean,
exactly.
With Marcus Mariota, they've been fairly bad. So I mean, it makes sense on like since I got the numbers on his contract, they're not that bad. Like I can see them spending 12.5 mil, but I
Yeah,
just
they're not bad. They're really
they're
not.
just such a question mark because what if he gets hurt in the next 2 years? Then that contract looks terrible.
But if he gets hurt in the next 2 years, the dude, he's off the books in 2 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean that contract is really not too bad for how much they're paying him, and the team loves him, so it makes sense. I'm not completely against them re-signing him, just because they did draft him, they've played with him, he's been there, he doesn't cause issues, and he led them to a playoff run. Now if they got beat by the Chiefs, and but they did beat the Ravens, so that's
and the Patriots.
I would. The offense didn't do too much. Henry did tear up.
Oh, and now we got to talk about
Henry did tear them up, but the offense didn't do much in that game. It was a defense. The Titans' defense killed them.
Yep, they did. But with that being said, so we just talked about
don't talk about the Patriots. I'll just swerve this all the way to the Patriots.
But with that being said, we're talking about Derrick Henry getting paid $12.5 million average annual value. Now we're going to talk about a dude who's getting paid an average annual value of, I believe, like $737,000, and that is not an exaggeration. Raheem Mostert, who I believe last year started out as the 5th string running back on the San Francisco 49ers. You'll have to check me on that, but off the top of my head, I believe he was the 5th string running back. What do we make of his trade request? That kind of got lost. Truthfully, I feel like it got lost a little bit in the sea of what was happening last week. But this dude, he didn't carry the Niners as much as Derrick Henry carried the Titans. But the dude, he went out and balled out.
He was a big reason on why they went as far as they did. Him and Matt Breida, both of them, like he had that punch that he just. I mean, I watched him a lot because someone had him in fantasy football, so I started watching him, and he just started tearing it up. Like, I mean, once he got, did he ever get this started? He was always the 2-back, wasn't he?
He was always the 2-back behind Breida.
Yeah, so I mean, he had 772 yards last year, which is just crazy on 137 rushes and 8 touchdowns.
Yep.
It's funny because like the rest of his time, he has like 300 total yards and like 1 extra touchdown. So he popped off last year. Now I think the main reason why it got kind of buried is, I mean, there's a big signings and stuff, but also I don't think the 49ers will get rid of him. I think they'll keep him. I think he's on a contract for 2 more years.
He's got no leverage.
There's no reason why they would get rid of him unless he just doesn't play, and then what if they don't lose much? I mean, he's not like a huge big name running back.
So he was signed to a 3-year, $8.7 million contract, March 19th of 2019. So, okay, this then begs, this is something that really, really irks me. And that is guys who go out and sign a contract and then literally a year later, give me more money.
I hate that.
Now, I'm not to say I am a capitalist at heart, meaning go out and make your money. I'm not going to fault anybody for making their money. If you feel like you need to make more money, go out and ask for more money. But don't do it a freaking year after you just signed something. After the past 2 years, you were put on IR to end their career, or to end the season November 29th, 2017 and November 3rd, 2018. You were put on IR, indicating you did absolutely nothing. You were cut by the Chicago Bears in 2016. And in 2016, the Chicago Bears absolutely sucked. You were out of the league for a year. Don't get me going with that. And now because you went out, and because Jerick McKinnon got hurt, because Tevin Coleman got hurt, because Jeff Wilson Jr. just got thrown out of the lineup for no apparent reason after getting 6 touchdowns in a span of 3 games, and because Matt Breida started to play really well, but you were like, you know what, let's just give the 5th string running back a shot. You go out and you ball out and you want more money, give me a freaking break. Get out of here, man. I don't think he'll be traded, but get out of here. Like, get out of here, man. Go fetch me a 4th round pick, and thanks, but don't let the door hit you on the way out.
I mean, if he just continue playing like he does and go to test free agency, he's gonna get paid. He'll get Derrick Henry money for sure, but he just has to keep on doing it.
And that's a big old if. That's a big old if. But we're going to talk about a guy who is another big if. Don't let your fandom get in the way of this, Gabe. Don't let your fandom get in the way of Super Scam.
Oh,
Let's talk about Super Scam Newton. Let's talk about Super Scam Newton. What do we think about this? It is official. $550,000 guaranteed for an MVP 4 years removed from his MVP year.
He's probably the biggest question mark of the offseason. He gets signed. No one knows how he's going to play. He is angry. He wants to prove everyone wrong. He signed a 1-year deal with the New England Patriots. It's the biggest if in football is, besides COVID, is if he is healthy. If he's healthy, I honestly think he'll tear it up. He's going to light the world on fire just because he is a former MVP. And if you looked at before he got his shoulder hurt in 2018, he was doing better than his 2015 MVP year.
Yep.
He looked amazing. He hurts his shoulder. He keeps on playing because he feels like he needed to support his team, and he could not throw 15 yards down the field. I'm pretty sure I'm a small person, and I'm pretty sure I could throw a ball harder than he could. His shoulder was torched. And then he comes back in preseason versus, what's funny is the Patriots, and hurts his foot and out for the whole season. And then the Panthers kind of did him dirty and got rid of him. Now, if he's healthy, I think he's going to, I can't guarantee anything because you still have Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson in the AFC. But I don't see any reason why he couldn't be the number 3 quarterback if he's healthy. If he's not healthy, he's going to get kicked around and won't do anything.
Truthfully, I don't disagree with you. I really don't. And I personally don't think that he's not healthy. I don't think he's unhealthy because he's a year removed. He's a year removed from playing, meaning he's had a year to recover or to help his injuries.
2 years for his shoulder.
When push comes to shove, as much as I hate the hoodie 99% of the time is going to make the right decisions for the Patriots. And I have no doubt that A, he wasn't planning this all along, and B, he didn't do his due diligence. He absolutely did his due diligence to find out that Cam Newton could be the starting quarterback for this team week 1. We know that Cam Newton will be the starting quarterback for this team week 1. And I think we're talking seriously, and this is a hot take, I think we're talking about a team that's going to go 13-3. I think we're talking about a team because what people don't realize is David Andrews, their best lineman, was missing because the dude had blood clots in his lungs that could have killed him. Found those out in week 2 of preseason last year, if I'm remembering right. Their best lineman missed all year. Now, he's back. Okay, Edelman's a little bit older. N'Keal Harry, I have so much confidence in. I firmly believe, I really do think that come January, come February, if we have a normal football season, we're going to be talking about the Patriots at 13-3 and what kind of noise are they going to make in the playoffs. I'm dead serious.
You're doing this thing where you're talking about the Patriots because last year I understand a lot of people hate the Patriots, but last year they were so
rightfully so.
They were so hurt. They lost their 2 fullbacks. They had a middle linebacker playing fullback, which he played decent, but he's a middle linebacker, which, yeah. They had no tight ends. All the tight ends were old or they were just bad. They lost their center, and honestly, their line was hurt off and on all year.
And who was the big left tackle that got hurt?
Isaiah Wynn?
I think week 16. Yes, Isaiah Wynn.
He's not a big left tackle. He's fairly small, but yeah. But and Cannon, I think Cannon's kind of fallen off, the right tackle.
Marcus Cannon, yeah, he's like 84.
He's fallen off. I think they need to replace him fairly soon, which they have a few guys that possibly could, but I'm not super high on them. And then they have the wide receivers. So Edelman was hurt 90% of the season. He could barely lift his shoulder up past his I mean, he couldn't even lift his shoulder up all the way. So I mean, if you watched him, a lot of plays, he just sat there. He just could not move.
Yep.
He was just there just as a dummy. And Harry, he's a question mark. He's a first round pick, and he didn't show any. The only time he showed something is a couple times he got the ball. He played powerful, and he should have had a touchdown versus his Chiefs, but the refs didn't call it. And then the Patriots, for whatever reason, they had no ability to score on a 1 yard play. Sony Michel, he's been a bust so far. Even after his rookie season, he played great, but that was with a Gronkowski blocking for him, the whole offensive line playing great, a fullback playing great. The offense is going to be interesting. Now with Cam Newton being there, I think it's going to change a lot because you don't necessarily have to have all of those. And I think Cam Newton is a lot less picky as a quarterback than Tom Brady. Tom Brady wants you in a certain position. He knows exactly where you will be. And Cam Newton, I think, will give wide receivers some chances. So if Harry can learn how to use his body against a corner, he's a huge dude. If he can bully corners, I think
6'4", 225. I mean, that is a massive human being.
Yeah, I think that offense will be good. And then that defense is top 3 in the NFL still after losing 2 great linebackers, and their DBs are the best in the league. So I wouldn't be.
What was that a little preview for next week? I think that was a little preview for next week. Hopefully y'all were listening to that little tease for next week. That was smart, Gabe, getting the people to listen, or getting them to get their interest peaked before next week. That was good on you, Gabe. Like, good on you. So now that we talked about Cam, we talked about Raheem, we talked about Derrick Henry, we talked about the best wide receiver trios in the league. We're going to talk about 2 new deals, and we're going to make these rapid fire. I want you to talk about the first one. I'm going to talk about the second one because I got some flaming hot takes on the second one.
I want to make one comment on the second one whenever we get to it, though.
Okay, don't make me slam you in the head with the helmet.
That's
Chris Jones.
That's
what do you
got? Chris Jones. Now,
what do you got with me, or what do you got for me for that?
Chris Jones, 85 mil, 60 mil guaranteed. I think it was a 4-year deal.
Yep.
That's a great deal for the Chiefs. The Chiefs started this offseason with like $177, and they've re-signed Mahomes and their biggest defensive player. He is the reason why the defense could hold the 49ers back from scoring more points in the Super Bowl. Now, Chris Jones, $85 million is a lot, but I think you kind of have to pay those players. He's probably a top 3, top 2 defensive tackle. D-line.
There was, by Pro Football Focus, he was graded as the second best one behind, of course, Aaron Donald. And I don't think that's anything to hang your hat on. Aaron Donald could retire today, and he's a Hall of Famer tomorrow.
Aaron Donald's a monster. But Chris Jones, I think that's a good deal. I'm glad that if I was a Chiefs fan, which funny, I used to be a Chiefs fan. They used to be my second team whenever Alex Smith was there. But I can't be a Patriots fan and a Chiefs fan. Anyways, now they had to have signed him. I mean, that defense would, if they didn't sign him, there's no way the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl next year.
Hey, are you saying that I couldn't have led them to the Super Bowl as their star defensive tackle? Because I think that they may have called you and I because they just love our podcast so much, A, and B, they had no money to sign anybody else. So I'm right there with you with that Chris Jones deal. I think at some point you just kind of paint yourself into a corner, and it would just be idiotic to not pay a guy who had a huge role in getting you to the Super Bowl and an even bigger role in winning you that Super Bowl. With that said, Myles Garrett, again, this is the question of, does market dictate things, and should you pay what the market is? My answer in a very, very, very short answer is no. Dude's good. Don't get me wrong. He has Hall of Fame talent. Really does. Can't stay healthy. he has a knack for taking plays off. And when you're getting paid $100 million, I'm just telling you, if I'm employing you to do anything, I don't care if it's to bag my groceries 10 days a week. I'm adding 3 days in there. If I'm paying you $100 million, you best be sure you better not take a day off. You better not take a snap off. You better not take a second off. When you're paid $100 million and you want to sit there and pound your chest as the best, and you want to sit there and act as though you were hot stuff coming into the league from Texas A&M, like, you better give me your all every single play, because at the end of the day, that's what Von Miller does, that's what Aaron Donald does, and that's what J.J. Watt does, and that's what Khalil Mack does. And those are the top 4 defensive players in the league. Those are the top 4 defend the contract wise. I mean, like, those dudes are getting it. Myles Garrett, if you're listening to this, you ain't. But if you are, go out and make me look stupid. Go out and get your money. Go out and look like a beast. But I don't think you're going to. I just don't. I think at the end of the day, in 5 years, they're going to look back and they're going to maybe regret this deal a little bit. And yeah, we'll just go from there. I mean, there's really the great thing about sports opinions is they're just that. They're opinions. They ain't facts. And
one thing with Myles Garrett, he got paid $125 million, and he missed half the season because he smacked that one dude on
Mason
the head.
Rudolph. Mason Rudolph, he smacked that fool in the head. Could have hurt him.
I'm not going to go if it was a valid reason or anything, but
oh man. Yeah. But at the end of the day, even if it was a valid reason, you're getting paid $100 million. Stay on the freaking field. It ain't that hard. Yeah, mic drop. There you go. And I'm literally holding a mic. Mic freaking drop. Guys, hope y'all enjoyed this second episode of the 2-minute drill. Hope y'all enjoyed the new segment. Hope y'all enjoyed the structure of it. Let us know what you think. Let us know if we're idiots for thinking that the Chiefs ain't the number 1 wide receiver trio in the league. Let us know if I'm an idiot. Well, don't let us know. Let me know if I'm an idiot for thinking the Dallas Cowboys are the number 1 wide receiver trio in the league. And yeah, let's go from there. Gabe, you got anything?
I just can't wait until this NFL season.
Dude, let's keep on waiting. We need to figure out when this is happening. The NFL still has not announced the training camp opening dates. Maybe by the time we're hitting people up next Wednesday, maybe they will have. If they do, and they just throw something down on us that we didn't expect, we're having a little special impromptu episode. Yeah, I just threw that one on you, Gabe. We're having a special impromptu episode as soon as these training camp dates get announced. We're going to talk to you, or you and I are going to talk. We're going to maybe talk to the people. And yeah, we'll just go from there. Guys, hope y'all really enjoyed it. We enjoyed it as always. Let us know what you think. Like, share, subscribe, rate us on iTunes. That helps us. That helps us to get in your ear. That helps us to get in your friends' ears. That helps us to get in your mama's ear, your daddy's ear, your best friend's ear, your aunts, your uncles, your dogs, your cats, your fish, every ear around. When you like, share, and subscribe and review us, that helps. Hope y'all are doing great. Hope y'all enjoyed this. Adios.